Good morning. Welcome to the Stimson Center. I'm Justine Sullivan, Vice President of External Affairs, and I'm glad you could all join us here today. We are honored to have with us His Excellency Sékou Berthe, Ambassador of the Republic of Mali to the United States. We've gathered this morning as part of our Ambassador Series to hear directly from His Excellency on Mali's strategic outlook. Today's conversation comes at a significant moment for Mali and the broader Sahel region, as the country navigates consequential shifts across political, security, and geopolitical lines. Mali sits atop substantial reserves of gold, lithium, and other critical minerals whose strategic importance is only growing, even as the country grapples with serious security challenges, evolving governance structures, and a recalibration of its external partnerships. These dynamics carry real implications, not just for Mali, but for regional stability, counterterrorism cooperation, and for the broader question of how the Sahel fits into an increasingly competitive global order. At Stimson, we believe that bringing together policymakers, diplomats, scholars, and practitioners for substantive dialogue is one of the most valuable things we can do. Civil discourse and the exchange of views and ideas are the essential building blocks of pragmatic solutions and durable cooperation. Stimson takes this opportunity and the responsibility seriously. Through these engagements, we aim to deepen understanding, bridge divides, and advance practical approaches to shared challenges. Today's discussion offers a direct opportunity to hear from Ambassador Berthe on Mali's domestic priorities, its foreign policy outlook, and its perspectives on the challenges and opportunities shaping the Sahel. Our conversation will be moderated by my esteemed colleague, Hafed Al-Guel, Senior Fellow and Director of the North Africa, Mediterranean, and the Sahel Program at the Stimson Center. Before we launch, a few housekeeping notes for your purposes. This event is being live streamed to our global audience, and it's being recorded. The event recording will be available in full at stimson.org/events. Hafed will leave time toward the end of today's event for questions from the audience, so please have your questions ready. For our audience here in DC, we'll have a roving microphone available to take your questions, and for the online audience, you can submit your questions at any point by going to stimson.org/questions. Hafed will look to incorporate as many of them as possible. With that, thank you again for being here. We are grateful to you for making conversations like these a priority in your busy day. Please join me in welcoming His Excellency Ambassador Sékou Berthe, and I'll turn the floor over to you, Hafed.
Thank you so very much, Justine. Welcome, Mr. Ambassador. It's really lovely to have you here at the Stimson Center. I also want to recognize Ambassador Kassoumi from Burkina Faso, who's also joining us. Very simple fact, a very quick fact. Both countries, in addition to Niger, are functioning almost like an EU. They have the same passport, the same currency, which is quite unusual within the African continent. Mr. Ambassador, let me start off by telling you that in Washington there is a lot of lack of understanding of Mali in particular, and since 2020, and where it fits and where is its strategic thinking and all of that. So let's start by you telling us in brief, addressing the audience here in Washington, about what is it that you want to let them know about Mali since 2020.
Okay, thank you. Thanks very much. Very happy to be here. And also let me first acknowledge the presence of Ambassador Kassoum Coulibaly here from Burkina. Yeah. The ambassador from Niger was supposed to be here also, but because of a conflicting schedule, she was not able to be here. But you have a representative from Niger here in the room. And also please allow me to express my condolences to all the victims of terrorism in our confederation. You know that we have been a victim of terrorism since more than 10 years now, since the fall of Libya, when Gaddafi was taken down in 2011 by NATO forces, and that caused a lot to our different states, Burkina, Mali, and Niger. And that's the consequences of Gaddafi's death in the region that we are suffering of today. So after that death, we saw so many foreign troops in Mali. And more than 10 years, they were there according to the narrative, to help fight against terrorism. But what we saw was happening. Instead of fighting terrorism, instead of terrorism going down, it was growing. So with the new government that came in 2020, they have asked all the foreign troops to leave Mali so we can be in charge of our security. And that's what's going on today. And going along, we came to the conclusion that terrorism was getting spread throughout the region. Mali, after Burkina, and then Niger. So we as a tri-state, we came along and formed what we call today the Confederation of the Alliance of the Sahel States, which was in place since July 2024, and Mali assumed the first president. The presidency is rotational. So after Mali, the first presidency was closed in December, and now is Burkina who is assuming the presidency of the Confederation. And after that, it's going to be Niger. So it's 1 year rotation. And the objective of the Confederation is finally to come to conclude to a federation like you have here in the US. So as Confederation, there have been many that have been set up in place. We have one flag. So far, we have one currency, which is the CFA. We have one national anthem. We have one motto. We are also set up one confederal investment bank with a capital of $1 billion. You have to understand that the capital is from the tri-state only, no foreign capital in that confederation bank. So this is so far what I can say briefly about what's going on in our tri-state region.
That's very significant. I hope at one point North African countries who started with the same hopes years ago in the Magharibi Union,
Yes.
and then unfortunately they haven't followed through. That would also forward. But let's start with some good stuff. The IMF has removed Mali from its gray list and sort of, praised it for its anti-corruption processes and its financial governance structures, the new ones in place, which is quite significant. But then at the same time, you have this dispute about the gold mining and all of that, and the signals that are going out to the international market about the new standards or the new policies for gold in Mali. Tell me about the economic dimension or the economic structures within Mali, and what are the goals that the new governments keep in mind, or the tri-state vision?
Okay. But, you have to understand Mali today is a country very rich minerally.
Yes.
We have a lot of gold, cotton, lithium, hydrogen, oil, and so forth. So we have the second producer or third producer of gold in Africa.
Yeah.
First producer of cotton in Africa, and good quality.
More than Egypt?
More than Egypt.
Wow.
Yes. And very good quality. And livestock, one of the first producer in the region. Talking about the mining, we have set up a new mining code. So far today, we have 14 international mining companies in Mali. So when the current government came into power, they sat down and looked at that the mining code we have was not benefiting the Malian people. So it was a review, and a new code was set up. When the new code was set up, all the international mining companies that were there in Mali agreed with the new mining code except one, that was Barrick Gold. But I don't know if you know about the latest news, everything was settled. One time, they took us to the international arbitration, but they came back and everything was settled. And if you look at today also, the mining, the gold bar in the international market one that's so expensive today to acquire due to the way it's going higher every day. It being very rich in gold, so the government said to himself, we need to benefit from our resources. And that's why when the new mining code was set up, there was provision in place that was changed so we can make more money in our gold. And today everything is settled. All the international companies agree to apply with the new provision in the mining code. There's no issue. And also we have good term with IMF today. Very good term with IMF and World Bank.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, it is really impressive that the IMF in particular took the lead and the World Bank, seeing Mali as transitioning to a better condition that it used to be before. But let me ask you also, how does this domestic policy reforms relate to the troubles that are on the northern part of Mali? Some of the terrorist groups, some of the militants, how is the Malian government thinking about how do you reclaim these areas and incorporate them into the new vision for the country?
Okay, like I said in my first comment, when Gaddafi was taken down, the regime of Gaddafi in 2011, I don't know if you guys remember here, Libya was one of the countries with a good stockpile of military equipment.
Yeah.
So when Gaddafi was taken down, those stockpile of military equipment were left for grab by anybody at that time because there was no state. The country, there was a void left after the death of Gaddafi. So, and usually there have been a recurring rebellion in the north of Mali since 1958. And that rebellion has been on and off, depending on our policy with France. Because sometimes when we are in good terms with France, everything goes well, there's no rebellion. But if any time we are in bad terms with France, France does everything possible to have some people led to rebellion against the regime or the government in place. So when Gaddafi was taken down, when Gaddafi was there before, a lot of Malians were part of the security forces of Libyan regime. I don't know if you know that as Libyan, you know that. So when Gaddafi was taken down, those that were there, those Malians were part of the security staff of Gaddafi. So, and looking at the stockpile of military equipment left, so everybody took the share and they moved to the north of Mali and started a new rebellion. And at the same time, the late former president, Amadou Toumani Touré, was not in good terms with France at that time. Sarkozy was president. And then those people, when they came from Libya, in the north of Mali, they settled, a new rebellion started and led to a terrorism, what we are feeling today and what we are going to fighting today and in the region with Burkina and Niger. Yeah. That's where the problem lies first. But today, we are not facing rebellion in the north anymore. What we are facing is terrorism. All the group became a terrorist group, and that we are facing, and that the government is fighting against now. Yeah. That's the issue at play right now in Mali.
Yes, I mean, there are a lot of Malians who are dual nationals, I know, in Libya, and some of them consider Mali as their center, like Tawarik, for example, historically, and so on. So I see how the collapse of the Libyan regime, which was unstructured and organized, sort of did all of that. But how does that fit now, I mean, this terrorist group, with your relationship with Algeria? The old Algerian agreement was, how is the dynamics now? Because we're also, do a lot on the Algerian borders here at Stimson.
Okay, like you said, we have an ethnic group in the north of Mali that also, we share the same ethnic group with Algeria, like many countries in Africa. You know, after independence, the way the former colonial powers set up our countries, it was done according to their own benefit. The countries was set up territorially like that. With Algeria, we have no issue. That the only issue we said, we told to our friend, our brother in Algeria, we have to fight against terrorism. And talking about the Alger Accord, it was denounced by the government because it was not benefiting the people of Mali. The word it was signed, it was against the interests of Mali. That's why it was denounced. So all we are asking from Algeria is to play fair game so we can fight terrorists. We have decided to settle in Algeria. So that's all we are asking from our brother of Algeria. Besides that, we have no other issue. But in the spirit of good neighborhood, Algeria should play fairly with us so we can root out terrorism completely in our respective country.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that. There is also the issue of the role that Mali plays in the security dimension of the entire Sahel. And like you pointed out before, it goes, the Sahel even includes places like Libya, Chad, Niger, and so on. Now, I know that the Malian government sort of asked all of the French troops to leave a few years ago, emphasizing that they no longer are needed, or there were all kinds of other speculations about it. But there are also reports of that Mali replaced them with the Russian Africa Corps. Initially, it used to be the Wagner Group. Tell me a little bit about that and the thinking behind the relationship with Russia in that part of the world.
Well, one of the pillars of our government is the respect of our sovereignty. So when we have more than 20,000 foreign troops settled in Mali for more than 10 years, coming to help fighting against terrorism, instead of terrorism going down, it was growing. So it came to a moment the government told to all foreign troops to leave Mali. That's what we have decided. And when we took that decision, France was not happy at all that it was kicked out from Mali. That was part of the problem. But we took that decision in the name of sovereignty because we want to take our fight in our own. And I think every country will do that. Any country want to outsource its security to any other country. That's not sovereignty. That will be something else. So that's why we decided to kick out all foreign troops. But you see, there has been a narrative going on that we kick out one and brought another one. So I think that's a misinterpretation of the fact. And it was a time we were looking to buy military equipment from every country. We came here to US first. We didn't get no helping hand. It's not free. They don't provide equipment to us free. We buy with our money. So we went to Russia. And luckily, they sold to us some military equipment so we can fight against terrorism. Because we were going under an existential crisis at that time. So we had no choice. In any deal, if you go to any country, buy military equipment, part of the convention is they will send troops to train your soldier how to use those military equipment. That's part of any deal, any convention in the world. That's all we had with Russia. So we bought a lot of military equipment with them, and they sent troops to us to train our soldiers how to use those equipment. But when you interpret that and said we kick out one and accept other to settle in our country, that's, I think, wrong to my point of view.
Well, I'm glad you're clarifying this. Yes,
Thank you.
I know that especially the Russians everywhere, they usually attach what they call trainers or advisors as a part of their military. But there is sort of the accusations are more public by the media more than anything else. And I can understand that maybe a lot of it is being planted by those who are not happy to have been kicked out.
Thank you.
Right?
Exactly. That's the case.
Rather than anything else.
Yes.
But, okay, now let's turn to the United States. Mali is now close to reaching an agreement with the administration here to return to the arrangement by sharing intelligence and having American eyes in West Africa again. Are you free to sort of tell us where that final negotiations is and if it's happening or not?
You know, under the former administration, the Biden administration, sanctions were taken against some of our military officers wrongly. So we were saying to the current administration that that was wrong, so they need to correct the mistake done by the Biden administration. And that's what they did. They lifted those sanctions against our military officers. And I think that's at just cause, nothing else.
Okay.
That was very rightly done. So, but there, I think we appreciate what was done, and it was a good step in our partnership. So there are talk, going on how we can revitalize our cooperation. So that's all I can say right now. There are talk undergoing on that topic, security cooperation with the U.S. Nothing is finalized yet. So they are undergoing.
Let me touch on 2 points and then we can go to the questions part. One is that, Mali's history is very rich in terms of, the civilizations that were built there or transitioned through there are, Timbuktu is one of those sort of almost, great cities, at least in the history of Africa, the history of the Islamic world and so on. And that, with it, came a lot of sort of civil participation, intellectual participation. There was a lot of academic and still a lot of the old manuscripts and so on. Much of the Islamic history is still deposited in Timbuktu. Tell me about, but as we spoke, there is always media talks and others about a restrictive environment for the civil society, for education, for researchers, and so on. Tell me a little bit about that, whether that is correct assessments, and is there a reason for it, or is there other plans to sort of address it?
Okay. I'm happy you raised about Timbuktu.
Yeah.
I used to tell to my friend American that people here knows more about Timbuktu, not knowing that Timbuktu is part of Mali. So, exactly. So, that's because of historical fact. One of the ancient civilization worldwide based in Timbuktu. So that's part
I would actually advise you all to watch some of the documentaries of BBC, specifically about Timbuktu and its civilizational basis. Yes.
So part of my duty is to explain to people here that Timbuktu is part of Mali. So you see, so from that standpoint, so everything is going fine. There's no restriction in terms of civil society in Mali. When you find a country in crisis, especially fighting terrorism, and that's one of the common challenge we have today, because one of the objectives also for U.S. is to fight terrorism. So when you get a country like that, fighting terrorism more than 10 years, it's not easy for anybody to move around freely and do whatever you want. So if that's what the media is portraying as a restriction of civil society, I think that's wrong. That's a misinterpretation of the fact on the ground. You know how terrorism deal with people? They tend to create a psychological impact so that people can fear. That's the factor on the ground. Otherwise, we have no restriction against civil society or the movement of people around in the country. Everything is done so that we can provide security as much as possible to our citizens so they can move freely throughout the country. That's the objective.
Okay, let's try to conclude with this. Tell me what does 2026 looks for Mali? I mean, what will be the goal, or what would you hope will be the image of Mali and its successes, building on the difficult even situation it has? And then where does the United States fit in trying to help Mali through that process, both economic development, the tri-state alliances? How would that look like in your view? I mean, in your mission here as an ambassador, what would you hope to achieve?
Well, the goal for Mali is with the Confederation of the Sahel state that was set up with Burkina and Niger to be a success story in Africa. That's our objective. That's why I said from the beginning, we plan to move from confederation to federation, like you know about federation here in the US. That's our goal. And with that federation, everything has been done as much as possible to move forward so we can have security in our tri-state country. Because we are trying now to form the basis for the federation. And part of that basis is to have security. The fight against terrorism. The U.S. can fit into that because the U.S. have an expertise in fighting against terrorism. So I think to that end, U.S. is welcome to have talk with our tri-state head of government so how we can work together to address the issue of fighting terrorism. That's our shared goal, that's our shared objective, and the U.S. can do better in terms of intelligence sharing because they have expertise in intelligence sharing, so we can exploit to fight against terrorism in our respective countries.
Is there, beyond the terrorism dimension, I think the tri-state actually also form some kind of a much larger economic weight. Where is that in terms of your relationships with
We kept saying to our friend in U.S., to our partner in U.S., that they are welcome to do business in our country. We have lithium, gold, uranium, hydrogen, a big deposit, and oil. U.S. businesses, U.S. companies are welcome to do business in our company. Everywhere we go, that's the message we convey everywhere. And I want them to come earlier than later because there are other countries there, waiting to come and sign deal with us. So it's time for U.S. to move forward so we don't want to get the blame later on that they are not there. And so far, we have one U.S. company in Mali in gold mining, one. And we are looking for more. And this is the opportunity for me here, really, to tell to my U.S. friends and companies that they are welcome to our confederation. They are welcome to do business, and we are open to do business with them.
And you're speaking for the whole confederation, not specifically just necessarily Mali, right?
I'm speaking for Mali and also for the confederation, because that's the confederation message that we are open for business.
Are you unifying the laws, investment laws and trade laws?
Yes, that's underway. Okay. That's why if you look at first, here in the U.S., it was a confederation before. Yeah. So what's the confederation? That to work on the basis in terms of judicial law, in terms of banking system, in terms of investment, so that we can address all the issue and move to the next step. That's the objective.
You should focus on Switzerland's confederation. It's a very good example.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to the audience here, and then I'll see if we got anything online. Please, let's start with you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thanks for doing this. My name is Julian Piquet. I'm with the Africa Report here. You rightfully talked about sovereignty, your right to do business with, foreign governments as you see fit. One of the issues, of course, is that all these foreign interlopers in your country seem to all have their own agendas, right? And I wanted to go back to some of what you talked about with the Russians, the Americans. The original sanctions that were imposed on your defense minister, other officials, were because of their relationship with the Wagner Group. And now those sanctions are gone. Does that mean that you are no longer working with Russia, or is the U.S. now okay with you working with Russia? And what is your message here? I mean, do you think the Russians and the Americans should be working together in your country as opposed to against each other? I'm just kind of wondering what the current situation is with, it's no longer the Wagner Group now, it's of course the Africa Corps. Is that relationship still there, and is it, are the Americans amenable to that? Just wondering what you can tell us about that. Thank you so much.
Let's take 2 or 3 questions, and then this way it'll be easier also for you to address. There was somebody in the back there, I think. Yes.
Hi, thank you so much, Excellence, for your remarks. I'm Madeline Volturo with the Strategic Stabilization Advisors. Recently, the United States re-engaged in kinetic counterterrorism operations in the West Africa region, specifically in northwest Nigeria, and some of the narrative around that has focused on perhaps trying to disrupt attempts by foreign terrorist organizations to link Sahelian fronts and Nigerian fronts. I'm interested in how the Malian government, how the AES is viewing that fight in Benin, northwest Nigeria, Niger. Is that something you consider to be an emerging threat in your own right, or is that more, is that kind of not in the highest priority for your governments? Thank you.
Do you want to go ahead and answer these 2 questions since they are somewhat related on the security front?
Yes. About the first question, if you see the sanctions were lifted by U.S. because there was wrongly imposed to our military officer, that's what we have been saying from the beginning, from the start. We have our choice of partner. All partners are free to come and have a dialogue and conversation with us in any matter. That's our choices. And that's one of the pillars of our government. Choices of partnership and choices of who we want to deal with. So Russia or any other country, US or any other country, is free to come to have a conversation with us about anything. That's our stand, and that's why we convey anytime, everywhere, wherever we go. So the issue, any other issue, like you raise Wagner or any, we don't have an issue with those. Like I said in my introduction, we have a military soldier of Russia in our country to train our soldiers how to use the equipment we bought from Russia. That's all. US want to come to have business talking with us, we are open, like any other country. Swiss, Sweden, Luxembourg, or any other country. We are free of our choice of partner. US engagement in Nigeria. Like I said during my conversation, it's more than 10 years we are fighting against terrorism. And we know that US have an expertise in fighting terrorism. We are open in terms of intelligence sharing, how we can fight or address those issues. We are not ready to outsource our security to any state. Because when we talk about sovereignty, is talking about assume yourself in your own territory, wherever your citizens are. So there's US is ready to come to have a conversation or any discussion with us in terms of intelligence sharing or any other issue. We are ready to have that conversation, but we are not ready to outsource or establish our security to any country.
Thank you. Let me take a question from online because we have an online audience. This is from Timur, who is from the Institute of World Economy and International Relations at the Russian Academy of Science. He is specifically asking a number of questions, but they all revolve around your view or Mali's view of the Morocco-Algeria disputes, which, as you know, they are now in direct talks, trying to sort of reach an agreement with mediation from Washington. And how does that impact the security arrangement and the stability of the whole Sahel? This conflict, this long-running dispute between the two countries on the Polisario and Mauritaniization.
Well, I don't think there's any direct impact in the Sahel. We have a very good partnership with Morocco, like you know. And like I said in my speech, we want Algeria to act in the same spirit of good neighborhood so we can address the issue that's fighting against terrorism. Terrorists in Algeria, so we can address those issues. That's only the problem we have with Algeria so far. Other than that, there's no other issue.
But do you see solving this problem between both Algeria and Morocco will enhance both security and cooperation in the whole region?
I don't think the issue between Algeria and Morocco will have any impact in our case.
Yeah.
Yes, there are no link. So that's a bilateral issue between Morocco and Algeria.
Okay.
We have no direct involvement in that issue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, my view is a little bit different, is that I think it will impact at least the tri-state union in terms of enriching from the economic side, not security side, but I think there will
No,
be...
no, I don't think so. I don't think so. Like I said, we are free to choose our partner.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no direct impact from Algeria or Morocco in my sense.
Yeah. Just the landlocked issue might be... Okay, I saw a couple of questions. Over there, yes.
Hi, my name is Rob Rosenberg. I'm the CEO of Intellect. So it's a U.S. company that is a technology company in the global trade logistics supply chain space. I'm doing a lot of work right now in Cote d'Ivoire, helping facilitate trade through the port of Abidjan with the transporters. And about a year ago, I was fortunate enough to hold a workshop with transporters not only throughout Cote d'Ivoire, but also from Burkina and Mali. I was hoping you can talk a little bit about how you see the vision going forward with not only your country, but the Confederation working with the other ECOWAS countries and most importantly, Cote d'Ivoire, and especially through a lens of trade and trade facilitation. Thank you.
There was somebody there, you said, Yusuf, yes. Take two questions and then.
Greetings, Your Excellency. It's a pleasure to see you again. And my name is Dennis Boatwright, and I'm the director of the Center for Pan-African Studies, headquartered in Detroit, Michigan. And we, in Detroit, we are very proud of the progress you made and your country has made in a very short period of time. So our question is, how can Americans, especially African Americans, help Mali achieve some of its objectives?
Yes, good morning. My name is Darnley Howard, president of Advance International. Excellency, it's good to see you here in D.C. And my question was regarding the bank that you talked about that the Confederation of Sahelian States has set up. And could you talk a little bit more about the status of that bank and to the extent that it is operating and deploying capital? And could you also elaborate on Mali's relationships with other Africa-based financial institutions such as Africa Finance Corporation, Afrexim Bank, and similar such organizations? Thank you.
Okay, we have a question from a very important investor and businessman from the United States. So these are the audiences you were reaching out to. And then we have another question about how can African Americans in particular support Mali's effort, and then a little bit more on the Confederation. I'll come to you, ma'am, right after.
Yes.
Okay, please.
Good morning, Ambassador. Thank you for coming. My name is Dr. Yvonne Oko. I am a Nigerian American and a physician and a public health professional. I'm so proud of the Confederation and Mali's history. And I just wanted to ask if, in addition to the countries that this gentleman mentioned, if you could also talk about the Confederation's interactions with Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to start with the question about Cote d'Ivoire. You know, we are a landlocked country. Historically, we have a good trade partnership with Cote d'Ivoire. Almost all our goods comes through from the port of Cote d'Ivoire, and oil, so forth. So far, there's no issue, except that lately, when you saw on the news, our oil truck were attacked by terrorists. So that was the only issue. But besides that, we have no trade issue with Cote d'Ivoire. Everything is going normal, except some terrorist attack on the road about our transportation system. So, I have no other issue, to my knowledge, with Cote d'Ivoire about that. There's no restriction about goods getting through Cote d'Ivoire, from Cote d'Ivoire to Mali. Same thing with Senegal, same thing with Guinea. As landlocked country, so those are our port of entry for goods in Mali. And that has been going on for years. How African American can help in Mali objective? You know, being here, there's not that much of knowledge about Africa from African American. They need to connect more with Africa in general, with the Confederation of Sahel states in particular. I think that will be very helpful to our partnership. Get to know Mali, get to know the Confederation, get to know what are our objectives, so you can get involved and help in case you want to help. That will be very interesting, because there are a lot of businesses here with the African American community that can export that in Mali and in our Confederation. So in order to do so, you need to connect more with us, so we can explain to you what are the different activities, economics, socially, culturally, we can share with you for your understanding, so you can be, or you can do whatever you plan to do with us. I think that's the message I can convey to our African American here in the US. The Confederation Bank, I said throughout my conversation, the bank was set up with the tri-state, with a capital of $1 billion from our tri-state, no foreign capital. So that doesn't mean we don't have a partnership or a financial cooperation with other institutions. We do have. But this was set up in order to see what are the structure, the capital project we can have in our tri-state, so that can be the basis of our development. You know, there are a lot of things, a lot of jobs to be done in our respective state. So one of the job of the duty of the bank is to see what they can be done in that sense, so we can talk about real development for our respective country. That doesn't prevent any partnership or any other partnership with any other institution. We do have partnership, like I told you, with IMF, with African Development Bank, with Flexing Bank, any other institution. Cooperation are ongoing. They are not stopped. The Confederation of Sahel States with Nigeria. You know, we withdrew from ECOWAS, but there are talks underway to redefine the Confederation working relationship with ECOWAS. But that doesn't prevent any bilateral partnership we may have with any state in ECOWAS. You may know that in any ECOWAS country, there are citizens of the Confederation living in those countries and vice versa. So reason we withdraw from ECOWAS, you are here, you all may know. But today, moving forward, there are right now talks underway to redefine the protocols between the Confederation of Sahel state one side and the ECOWAS the other side, and people movement between the different countries. So talks are underway. They are not closed yet. Other than that, we have no issue at all bilaterally with Nigeria.
Think of it like the Brexit story.
Okay, so you can link to Brexit. Yes.
They pulled out of the ECOWAS, but they're still sort of trying to come to terms with the current. Yes, sir, please, at the end.
Peace and blessings, Ambassador Sam P.K. Collins. I have a question and a comment all mixed in one. In regards to what my brother earlier talked about in terms of the African-American cooperation, it's my informed opinion that our knowledge, or what you assess of our knowledge, is highly underestimated. And I cite Captain Traore's meeting with the African diaspora not too long ago, in which he hosted them and in which he spoke about that relationship. I'm making that comment to pretty much ask about the possibility or the conversation around a unified plan around engaging the diaspora. What is the Confederation's unified plan, or what conversations are around that in terms of engaging the diaspora around a bilateral relationship through which we can come back and help build up the Confederation in terms of infrastructure and education? My second question is in regards to the Confederation's relationship with the United States. Now, you're not totally a federation, but at the very same time, given your relationship with France, I totally understand that. But in terms of the relationship now with the U.S., what is the status of that, especially given Michael Langley's comments before the Senate about Captain Traore? So, you know, given that, what is the current status of the relationship? You know, if you can just speak on that for us.
Okay. Please.
Good morning. My name is Kalia. I'm a graduate student at the American University School of International Service. Recently, it was reported that the U.S. and Mali are nearing a deal that will allow for Washington to resume flying aircraft and drones over the Mali airspace to gather intelligence on insurgent groups like Al-Qaeda. Can you kindly talk about how this renewal of information sharing and the aspect of intelligence gathering will impact Mali's security apparatus? Thank you.
Yeah, let's go ahead and answer these, and then.
That's it?
Do you want more?
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know if there's one more, because we are taking 3 questions.
Well, okay, our last question, and then you can answer it, and then we'll conclude with final remarks.
Yeah, so Grant Turner with the Stimson Center. We've talked a lot about, you know, larger powers, U.S., Russia, et cetera, and regional powers involvement with Mali. But what about, are there any kind of so-called, you know, mid-tier powers, you know, Turkey, India, Brazil, et cetera, that have had interest or involvement in Mali? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. There have been an ongoing dialogue with African Americans here since I've been here as ambassador a lot, and since the start of the Confederation, because I saw that people have been checking online what has been going on within the Confederation. So they are so happy about it. We get so many messages, so many visits in our different embassies from African American. They want to get to know more about the different dynamic at play in the Confederation. And there have been many groups of African American went to Burkina, Mali, Niger, and we have been contacted by others planning to go and learn from themselves and bring back that live experience and see what they can do moving forward. And I don't know if you are, but this Dennis is right here. He came with his team from Michigan to my office. So I don't know if you know him, but you can get in touch with him right there. So he can brief you more about what's going on and what they are planning to do. And just a few days ago, somebody came to my office. They are planning to set up a group to go to Mali, Timbuktu, and Guinea. So that means there is an understanding right now to get close more and to know more about the Confederation and the different activity and how they can be helpful to our narrative. AS and US, during my conversation, the Confederation have a good partnership with US. And the Undersecretary for Africa, Nick Checker, is actually now in Burkina. He was in Mali a month before. So that means there is a good dialogue, conversation going on so we can reset our cooperation, our relationship. So, so linking to your question to the lady about what
and we get 10% of any money you guys make, okay? You need to donate it to Stimson.
What you have been reading in the media lately, well, I think there's some overstatement in those media. Okay, everything is not right. But all I can say, there are right now talks underway to reset our relationship, and they are ongoing. Nothing yet is concluded. That's all I can say about that subject to you right now. So I don't know if I have addressed all the questions. Oh, the last one. We have the choice of our partner that you can count on that. We don't take or we don't, nobody or any other state can dictate to us with who to do business, on who to choose as partner. We have a good partner with Turkey. We have good partner with Brazil. We have a very good partner with any other state you may think. But the only condition is you have to respect our partnership, our sovereignty, respect our choice of partner and our strategic choices, and also any decision making that's taken in the Confederation or by our state, we have to take into account our people, the interests of our people. Those are the three pillars on which everything is done in our respective countries.
Thank you very, very much. Just also an FYI to all of you, we will be doing a panel that will include the ambassador of Burkina, the ambassador of Mali, and the ambassador of Niger to discuss this confederation more and the alliance and its implications. So they all kindly accepted, and they all will be joining us at one point. It's just a matter of arranging the schedules. I also am grateful to you and also to the ambassador for supporting at least my vision of creating or recognizing, I mean, it's not creating, but recognizing a reality that Sahel and North Africa and the Mediterranean as a place of impact should be looked at as one strategic region because of the linkages between all of these countries rather than, like North Africa, where I come from, It used to be always attached to the Middle East, which is really much further in terms of its issues and complications than, for example, our brothers and sisters in the Sahel. I mean, it's very hard for somebody like me from Libya to actually really logically put a line between southern Libya and Chad and Niger and these places. It's just, I think we all fell into this colonial vision of what should be divided rather than really the realities on the ground. I'm going to give you last words to say to the audience, both here and online, and then we'll give everybody a chance to grab some food or and coffee and so on.
Thank you, really. And I just want to thank the Stimson Center for the invitation provided to us, to have this conversation. And I'm sure from that conversation, people learn a lot about Mali and also a bit about the Confederation of the Sahel state. Because with the upcoming panel coming up, there are more to say about our shared goals, shared objective about the Confederation. And thank you very much. And to tell to the audience, so we are available at the embassy for you, anything you may want to know about Mali or our respective country, so that you're planning to do either business or any other things in our respective country. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you. You can always count on us as supporters and open for anything that the tri-states or anybody within the Sahel and North Africa needs, I think. And we have a number of pipelines in terms of publications to explain this, and one of them I promised you earlier, we're going to do it on the tri-state.
Thank you.
And so we'll come back to you on that.
Thank you.
Thank you guys all very much. You have a chance to talk to the ambassador if you want. Thank you, sister.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Yes.